You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like it says I'm live, but I never really know if that's for sure. And it often isn't the truth. See, it says live, but I can't find the stream. Right? I don't know. Maybe
There's like 10 to 15 seconds where you got to like hand wave. Am I there? That's how it always kind of goes.
somebody comment. Somebody let us know.
Yeah.
Um, Either way, though, I think you and I got in touch through Lana. Is that right?
Yeah, that is correct.
How did you and Lana get in touch?
Lana's actually part of my mastermind, and she
Nice.
said that you do these really cool interviews, and that I would be it's just somebody awesome with stuff to share for all your Facebook ad geniuses out there. And so she put us in touch. And part of it for me is like I just when I enter a niche, I want to find out who the coolest people are and connect with them. And I'm part of all the big Facebook ads group, and you for real, you have the coolest one. I'm not just kissing the ass on your T-shirt. It is actually a fact.
It's
So
I tell you what, it's strange because I'm part of alternatives or direct competitors to like what I'm building here, and half the time the entire group is just like a cattle call group of like people in line waiting to spend money with the guy in charge. And you can see that because only him and his team can post, right? And it's all two steps, and there isn't like a culture or a tribe or a conversation.
yeah,
And so like I put a lot of time, effort, and energy into it, and I appreciate that feedback. Because when we started, we were always everybody starts at zero, and those people were still the big deals, right? And now, like the ass fam is getting to a point where it's rivaling like paying memberships
yeah,
and
totally.
groups where like they charge like 100, 200, $300 a month, and I'm like, I'm just trying to like set everybody straight, like so it's fun. But I remember, I think a year or so ago, you're like, Jeff, can I send you a book? Right?
I did
And
actually.
I have the book on my shelf, by the way. Yeah. And you have a copy with you, right?
I do, of course. Well, it's got
Yeah.
my
So
face on it, so
yeah, you
hopefully
might as yeah, there you go. Yeah,
I hope.
perfect, right? That's very cool. Um, like I mentioned before, like I don't know you from 6 Ways from Sunday, right? Like I don't know your background. I listened to your conversation with Jay Abraham. So could you just give us like the basics, the background, what you've done, how you've done, and then maybe we'll start the conversation and journey that way, right?
Yeah, let's do it. By the way, just if anybody's here, you guys could comment, let us know you're seeing it, because otherwise it's just Jeff and I talking, but I'm sure there'll be a replay.
Eventually, somebody will watch it, maybe, right?
I started my agency journey in 2007. And when I say I started, what I mean is that like the whole economy tanked, especially in my local area.
Yep.
And I had to like make money online, if you will. And I probably spent almost 2 full years making exactly zero.
Yep.
So that was my awesome first 2 years. And I think everybody's got one of these in your agency. I had my anti-cheerleader, who was my father-in-law, who said, get a real fucking job, man. Like, and
I love that. The anti-cheerleader. Damn.
Well,
those are people that like are well-intentioned, but the
yeah.
words that they use are just
Yeah.
shuddering to goals and excitement and enthusiasm, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they what they want for you is to have some stability and to be able to earn an income, and they don't really think much of your dream. I actually still remember it was probably about 5 years later when I really started to make it, and I built my SEO agency up to over 100 clients. And I remember actually we were starting to travel a lot. Suddenly I had this digital nomad kind of life, and my girlfriend, who was a teacher, just started taking a week off of school here and a week off of school there, and unpaid, right? Like teachers don't get paid to just take a week off. And he was like, like, you guys are taking all these trips. What's going on? And he had always referred to my business in the beginning as this little side thing that I was doing. And I just gave him the little wink and said, well, I guess that little side thing's working out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it takes about 5 years before you can say, I told you so.
That is like the most interesting challenge out of all of this. Like the people that love us and care for us usually are coming from a place of like just massive scarcity. Like they want you to be good, but not experience like the feedback from failure and the feedback from experience. They're like, we just want you to be happy. I'm like, happiness is really like half struggle and half success.
Totally.
And I remember my friends and my family going, Jeff, it'd just be a lot simpler and easier. Like if you just got a job. I'm like, okay, well, it's 2008. All right. And there aren't so tough, right? What am I going to do now? And I remember I felt like a caged lion. Like I just graduated a degree in finance, majoring in derivatives and credit default swaps, and in the middle of a recession for finance people with credit default swaps. I'm like, what am I supposed to do here? Right? Like there's no way out.
Yeah.
And my escape wasn't starting my agency then. My escape was going back to business school. And then I got fired. And then I started my agency journey, right? You just happen to do it like one step ahead. So bring us back to like 2007. The recession's going on, worst financial crisis ever. And it's like COVID, but back in the day without the disease,
Totally.
right?
Yeah.
And so like, did you say, oh, I'm going to start an SEO agency? Or was it like, I was freaking out. I didn't know what to do. Like, what was it like?
No, actually, you know, it's funny how the life throws you these kind of curveballs. And one of them for me was I was actually just trying to get a job. That's like, I was like, but in my local area in Windsor, Ontario, Canada, they were laying off people. Like it's basically like Detroit, the Canadian version. So it's like Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler. And they were like literally in a city of 200,000, there would be an announcement one day, 20,000 people all got fired, which is like 10% of the city. And, you know, I'm looking for a job, and I would go to like a job fair, and the only people there were like commission only, kind of like you can sell for your lunch kind of insurance jobs and things like that. But like nobody had a guaranteed paycheck. And I had a friend of mine, and he was really into real estate, and he just called me up one day and said, hey, I wrote a real estate course and we're going to sell it on the internet. And I was kind of like, we? And I was like, no, you are going to sell your real estate course. But I thought about it and I was like, well, what else are you going to do? And so it brought me into this world of like, I just thought if you build it, they will come. I was like Kevin Costner delusions. I actually remember thinking I'm going to get a Ferrari by the end of the month. And then of course you put up a website and find out you got like 2 website visitors. One's a robot from China and one's your mom who's like, wow, that's kind of nice, honey. You built the website.
Great looking website. Good for you. Go get a job.
And so then I went down this rabbit hole of SEO, and after about 6 months, we'd actually built it up really, really well. I'd like soaked up everything. And I remember somebody came by and said, I'll pay you for this website. And I was making 0 sales. I had shitloads of traffic and sold it. And I actually didn't know what I was going to do for like the next year. But one day somebody called me up and said, hey, you know that SEO thing you did for somebody else, could you do it for me? And I said, sure, why not? And I actually got into white labeling before like white labeling was even a thing. Like it didn't even have a name back then, but he was like, well, I got all these, he was a web designer who just had abundance of SEO people that needed it and didn't want to deliver it. And I was like, send them all my way. And so I went from like not even knowing what an agency was to having like 100 clients, like probably within 6 months. And it was, I knew nothing about running an agency. It was like a chaotic mess. And like, even though I was financially successful, it was probably the most miserable I've ever been in business. Like I wanted to put a bullet in my head every day. I hated SEO. I hated the clients. And it was just like meeting requests all day long. My phone was just like blowing up. Can you call me? Can you call me? Can you call me? And so I would like, you know, be out with my family on a Sunday and my phone would ring and be like, hold on, honey, I just got to take this call and you got to walk
feel like
away.
You're a sports agent without the dollars behind you.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like, I had built myself a prison. And so eventually I reached a point actually years later where I literally just one day decided to burn my agency to the ground and just, that's it. I'm firing all my clients. I'm not doing this. And I went through probably about 6 months or a year. And that kind of led into the stuff we're doing now where I don't take any sales calls in my meetings. Like we just sell through video. I don't have any meetings. I shouldn't say I don't have any meetings. I get like 2 or 3 a month and they're usually like, I'm the one requesting them and they last 5-10 minutes. But almost 100% meetingless. And like, it's been so much easier. I still have a little PTSD actually when I check my inbox thinking like a bunch of angry clients are going to be there and they're just not. But I've learned to build an agency that's just like way more low maintenance.
I find most people go through that very similar agency. And it's just like when you work for like Google or Goldman Sachs, like the first 2 years, they just burn you out. They're like, hey, it's going to suck and we're going to pay you too much, but you're not going to have a life. And then people either continue down that journey, which is like hypertension, stockbroker style experience, right? Or one day they wake up and like, I need a break and I need to rebuild this. And it sounds like you rebuilt your agency to where it was less touch, but higher quality of life, right?
Yeah.
So
and I realize that because when you have this really successful agency and you have no quality of life, you're like, what the hell am I even doing it for? Right. Like I have money and I can't even go to a restaurant because my phone's going to blow up on the way.
Yeah. You feel like an investment banker.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So in the beginning you were doing SEO and you got like referral partners or power partners, Jay Abraham words, right?
Yeah.
Some guy that had the clients but didn't have the fulfillment. You're like, I got you. Let's boogie. He had happier clients. You're getting results, but you're working 14 hours a day. Everything was stressed, freaked out. And it sounds like like you went through a transformation, but bring us back to where you were when it was like you and 100 clients. Was it just you and like 2 or 3 people? Or like
I had a
does that
team
look
of virtual assistants of about 30
like?
ish, and I didn't know anything about hiring and management. So like I can't even tell you just like how many horrible mistakes I made at that point. But like every aspect of that business was chaotic. Let's just say that. But yeah, it was kind of just like, and I'm sure some of you guys can relate to this. Even if you don't have 100 clients, you can have this with 5 or 10. But it was like putting out fires, just like constantly. Like I must have checked my email 50 or 100 times a day. Like you
just keep it open.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And like, you're always like, oh, it's been 10 minutes, checking it. And you feel like you have to respond to everything. And it was, I very rarely get emails from my clients at all anymore. And that's kind of amazing when you think about that.
So was this client conversation or overabundance of client conversations, right? Was that because of like there was problems with the product and delivery? Or is that because like the team kept kicking stuff to you? Or is that because you didn't set the tone correctly with the clients? Like you didn't say, hey, we're going to meet once a month and that's it. Like what was the big reason why?
Yes, and yes to all your things. I think a lot of people doing Facebook ads, because I do a lot of stuff with Facebook ads now, can relate to this. Is I just assumed in the beginning, if I made people money back, that everything would take care of itself. Like you paid me 1,000 and you were getting 10,000. And I told you this story in our little preamble, but it's a really great example for understanding this, because we also build intangible things for people. So where I'm at in Mexico now, they're building a bunch of beachfront houses. There's a lot of like doctors and lawyer types in this kind of area.
Yep.
And there was a guy, my neighbor, and I said to him, oh, you bought this house. How was that? And he decided to go on this tirade and said, it was the worst fucking experience of my life. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, first of all, I saw it online, so I bought it sight unseen. And so I just wired like 220 grand or something like that to some guy in Mexico, and I couldn't reach anybody for 2 weeks. Nobody would like return my phone call. And then eventually they sent me a contract, and of course it's in Spanish. I don't speak any Spanish, so I got to get a translator before I can even understand the legal. And for 6 months I kept trying to get updates and nothing happened. And then eventually I came down and my house was built perfectly. And so when you think about that, on the results and delivery, they actually did a perfect job.
Yep.
But it took me a lot of years to realize 50% of what we do is actually the communication. It was that part that was like so lacking.
This little chasm of unknown is where like our clients freak the F out so much. This is like a constant thing across all client and customer relationships. Like I paid you money, and then you have this like regret, like fear, and then oh, we got it happy and it's done. And it's so strong that like Uber is like, yo, we are going to update you by the second as soon as you order something. Amazon is like, you are going to get notifications every 15 minutes. Because
you really want.
Go on.
I was just going to say, Amazon's a perfect example. Like it's in the box, we're shipping it. It's on its way. Here's the tracking. Like they let you know where it's going on the journey.
And way back in the day, I remember my grandfather talking about he would order stuff from catalog, send money as a kid, like $2 for a hat or whatever it was, and then nothing for 6 weeks. And you check the mailbox every single day, right? And the relationship has evolved to, as soon as I have spent money with you, I am expecting some kind of deliverable. Either it's homework, either it's an update, some kind of thingy. As soon as we implemented that into our agency and our deliverables onboarding docs, our clients calmed down. Like we had like 36 to 48 hours, like it's going to be okay. Fill out your form. No big deal. When we didn't have that, I had people pay, then message me 30 minutes later saying, where's the stuff? I'm like, it's a campaign. I'm building it out. Like it said, but like they didn't know. Right. So you crossed that chasm of uncertainty. Did you use did you use like an onboarding form or survey to fill that out? Or like, how did you deal with this little break in that client narrative?
Well, for us, like part of what we do, and this kind of gets into a deeper concept of retention. Like obviously I found there's 4 things with retentions. Obviously results are part of it, but I used to think if you just got results, everything, like if you get the 10 ROS or ROAS on Facebook ads, you're going to stay forever. And then there's nothing worse than a client fires you after you're getting them 10 to 1 on your money. And you're like, what the fuck? Like, like what just happened?
And then you have the most awkward testimonial ever of like, thanks, I made $1 million. Why doesn't he work with you anymore?
Yeah, exactly. The second thing is I never understood how important expectations are, and we can do a deeper dive on this later, but there's four things that you want to communicate in terms of expectations: results,
Mm-hmm.
cost,
Mm-hmm.
time, and how much we're going to talk. Those four things are like those four things are like the whole basis of it. And when I started implementing that, like people actually got a better idea of what we were actually doing. And also when you set expectations, like you get to set where the bar is. Like a lawyer told me this really simply, where he said, if I tell a client I'm going to get him 15 grand and I get 10, then I'm the biggest idiot in the world.
Yep.
But if I tell him I'm going to get 10 and we get 15, they're like, my lawyer is a hero. I was only supposed to get 10 and we got 15. This has probably been the biggest one is we've designed our agency, like all our communications are designed in advance. So like this has like been a huge part of our retention, which is firstly, like the minute you sign up, like one of the things we do is I send an edible arrangement, which has like a salted caramel apple, some cookies, sometimes some chocolate covered strawberries. And they're like for real, the fastest company I've ever seen in the world. They'll be there in like 2-3 hours from the time you sign a client.
Nice.
And we have a customized welcome note. So it takes me like 5 minutes. I spend like $50. But they've had all these bad experiences with marketing agencies, and they're worried that you just disappeared to an island in Cuba or whatever, and then all of a sudden there's a knock at the door, and they're like, "Who's this?" We also drop in a mail welcome package, and that takes like a week to get there. So even though we do it at the same time, it feels like two separate communications. And then we intentionally reach out, and I like to compare it to, if you're thinking about the house analogy, imagine you got a phone call from the owner, and he says, "Welcome. I'm so excited to have you. Like, I can't believe you bought this house. We're going to do an amazing job. Just want to let you know you're like so welcome." And then a week later, they say, "Hey, this is your plot of land." They send you a little video and say, "It doesn't look like much right now, but your house is going to go right here and the pool's going to go over there." And then another couple of weeks go by and they say, "Hey, we just poured the foundation. You can start to see a little bit." And then they say there's a frame and every little update. And when you do those things, it took me a long time to realize that meetings requests are a function of they don't trust you. And it's not necessarily you, it's just they've had so many bad experiences. And so the more you play offense on that communication, there's nothing for them to ask you about. So the meetings just go away.
When I had my $10,000 a month car wash client, I was sending him a Loom video every 2 or 3 days. It was 30, 60, 90 seconds. And sometimes it was like, "Hey, Mr. Johnson, want to let you know the campaign is totally bombing today. We're figuring it out. We'll have an update you in 2 or 3 days." And he felt so at ease because it felt like I was keeping him in the loop. Now, I didn't have like a roadmap or a communications plan or anything like that. I was just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Right. But when you talk to your client, do you have like, "Hey, we're going to be talking every 2 or 3 days"? Or are you just like proactively sending him or her this information as it comes up?
Well, we set the expectation that every 2 weeks you get an update for us on Friday. And the beautiful thing about that is I can do 50 client updates, and like you, they're 90 seconds long. So it takes me 2 hours to make 50 client updates and send them. And when I used to have meetings with 50 clients, they could take up your whole week, because one's Saturday night at 8 at night and one's Tuesday. I'm only up at 5 a.m. before I get on my flight. Can you call me at 5 a.m.?
Yep.
And so all of those things. And so the more and more we like proactively go out of our way to let them know. But I've actually experienced this in SEO. I used to just think my clients were really stupid, like for a lot of years, because I would send them the monthly report and they would always say, "Oh, it looks really pretty. But what does this even fucking mean?" Right? Like there's charts and graphs and so I would get on the phone and it was the same phone call every time. "Well, here's what we're doing. Here's why we're doing it. And here's what's coming next." And then I realized, oh, that's all they wanted to know. And so that's our updates. I don't send any click-through rates. I don't send any reports. I don't do any software. We just send, "Here's a 90-second, here's what we're doing, here's why we're doing it, here's how it's going." And it's actually a selling feature for our clients, because we say, "Hey, look, our clients are busy professionals." So I say, like, "I know you're busy. I know you don't want to do meetings. I know you don't want to talk to me. That's why I'm like going to proactively update you and send you these things. And if ever for any reason we need to talk, we can. I just ask that you nail down something like a specific meeting purpose so that we can keep it to like 10 minutes or less." And what you find is when you do that, they just leave you alone. So it's kind of amazing.
So as you were doing that and building up that like update or Loom skill set, is that how you started landing clients through Loom? I guess we're coming back to the headline, right?
Yeah.
Like that headline was just so massively attractive. It's literally how we use Loom to sign 2 to 5, even 10K clients without sales calls or proposals. And I'm like, damn, Frankie, give me those goods, right?
All right.
So is it am I right in thinking like as you're updating via Loom, you were understanding what to say and how to say so that like you could actually use that skill set to land a client, or like how did that turn out for you?
I would say it's probably a little bit of a different skill set, but obviously same software. And I'll give you guys the lowdown. I actually got some old school PowerPoint slides like this that are printed out because I didn't want to forget anything and leave
I've gotten proposal pitch videos by Loom. And when people do that, it's just so eye-catching where they hold up a sign. Yeah. I'm like, these are like cue cards. I think they're fantastic.
So it actually started with me. I was probably about 3 years ago. I was living in Germany at that point. We've kind of lived all around the world. And my daughter had just been born and like wanted to hang out with daddy. And I remember I had a day, and that was actually like the breaking point for me. It was as part of like getting like a green card equivalent of being in Germany, they make you go to school. So it was like the first time in my life I had like a 9-to-5 schedule. I hated every moment of it. And but like till like 3 o'clock I'm in school, so I don't see my kid all day long. And then I came home and I had a gauntlet of sales calls. I think I had 10 in a row that day that were all an hour long.
Yeah.
And it was like fucking exhausting to start with, but the whole time like she kept going like Papa, and I'm like, sorry, honey, daddy's on a sales call.
Go away. Okay, I can't deal. No.
And it was and at the time I came across a mentor of mine. Some of you guys will know him. His name's Travis. And Travis, one of the things that he said is like, if you can't
tap method guy.
That's the guy.
Yeah.
He said, if you can't sell your offer in 1 to 3 sentences, then put in a Facebook ad and a webinar and all these things. And I realized that whenever I had like great success in my agency, like landing clients, it was because I had a really good offer. And whenever it was hard and I had to do like proposals and chasing and those kind of things, it was because I had a difficult offer. Like, and the ultimate example of a difficult to sell offer was SEO. So SEO is pay me a lot of money for a long time, and you'll get a result like way in the future, but that result isn't guaranteed because Google's fucking crazy. And when you like actually like size that up as an offer, like that's why it's hard to sell. And so part of what I learned was this skill set of just making offers that didn't need all the hoopla. And what you found is when you made these easy to say yes to offers, then it didn't require a phone call. It didn't require chasing people. It didn't require all these things. In fact, they just want to know, more often than not, when they're jumping on a phone call with you, believe it or not, most of the time, they just want to know the last 5 minutes is how much is it?
Yep.
And so we just put that in a Loom video and let them know. And so whenever I do have like a call where somebody says, hey, I just have a question, can you call me? I have what like are 5-minute sales conversations. And they're usually just like, hey, I have one last question before we get started. And that's it. And that's the whole close. I'm
taking a flight to the Four Seasons Serengeti because I haven't taken a vacation in like 2 years, right? And I was so enthralled and wanting of that thing. I said, could you please call me? I want to write you a check, right? That is the offer. And that was last 5 minutes, right? If I didn't want to go to that hotel, there's probably nothing that they could have said to make me go, right? Yeah. And the analogy that I use is like, you need to talk about like that, when you see all those people waiting online for the iPhone, like they want it. And the discussion, now it's how much does it cost, right? And tell me if I'm wrong here. What I'm hearing is that if you cannot communicate how much somebody, or if you cannot sell something that somebody wants, every other sales step is going to be hard. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
And if you cannot communicate that, you're going to spend way too long on the sales call and you're going to have a bad time 9 times out of 10, right?
Exactly.
So how do you, or what does that Loom video process look like for you?
And this is almost too stupid simple that people like, it can't be that easy. And I'll tell you a second piece that's kind of like important to this is most of my clients, and I would suggest that they're people with money who lack time and not people who have abundance of time and lack money. And I think those are generally the best clients. So like they actually prefer to be sold this way.
Yep.
And I'll actually, before I just wanted to answer 2 questions about it, and then I'll show you guys how it works. Because the 2 biggest questions I get about it are, well, okay, what are your conversion rates? Because like I know you can send a video, but I close 60% of my calls. My conversion rates are about 5 or 15 to 20%. But what nobody tells you is it's not apples to apples, because the number of people who will jump on the phone with you for 60 minutes and talk with you is very, very low. And the number of people who will watch a video is at least 10 times higher. So even though like 1-to-1, I close less, I get 10 times as much opportunities. And so our net closing rates are actually much higher. And then the second question is people say, well, what about the quality? Because a part of the reason I get on the phone is to like weed them out and make sure they're a good fit. And believe it or not, part of like coming up with the offer, so I hear my daughter crying at the door over here, my youngest, is I make the offer like very clear who it's for and who it's not. And you would be amazed that people who come out from the video are actually better quality. It's because in my experience, they've taken a step towards you rather than you kind of arm twisting them for the credit card.
Yeah.
And so the two things I get are like the conversion rate and the quality, and they're actually both higher doing it this way as a whole. And this is really the whole Loom video. It's 3 parts. It's an offer.
Yeah. Okay, before you show me, I'll tell you what, it's the same thing. Every success is simple and it's 3 steps.
Yeah.
That is it, right?
3-step plan, baby.
3-step plan, right? And all right, so show us the thing again. It's too simple. Do it. Yeah.
I know it looks too simple, but I'll tell you the real key is this one over here. Is the offer is just so easy to say yes to that it doesn't require all those things. And then we've got a plan and a demonstration. I want to break it down to you guys. I found like this is my little notes, and this is certainly not the only way to create an offer. And like there's an infinite number of ways to be successful. And I just want to share with you guys what I find to be the easiest way to create these offers. Because when I make these Loom videos, when I'm like planning them, I actually make them in reverse. So I think about the offer first, then I do the plan second, and then I do the first 15 seconds last. So this is the easiest way I've found to come up with an offer that people want is start with a broad niche. And then there's a concept in here I called the nickel and the $100 bill, and then build your own unique system. So I'll give you an example of that. One of the things we did back in the day is I worked a lot with plastic surgeons when I used to do SEO. And one day a guy came to me and said, well, I don't really want all the business. Like they get a lot of stuff that comes through the door where they might make $500, but it costs them $500 to do it. Like if you think about, and every niche has this, by the way, every niche has like volume stuff that's really cheap. Like in my niche and the lawyer stuff, what I would call the nickel stuff is you can bring lawyers traffic tickets like all day long. They'll fight traffic tickets, but they make like $100 and they usually pay a paralegal $100 to defend it. So like you can send them millions of dollars worth of business and they won't make any money from traffic tickets directly. The $100 bill in my niche is something that we specialize in our agency. I call it, or they're called motorcycle cases. Motorcycle cases are like $80,000 cases.
Would that be like personal injury? Is that correct? Or
yeah,
it is.
It's like and this is like when you start with a niche, you want to think about specializing about the $100 thing within the niche, which is the highest. So if you're doing coaching, it might be masterminds. If you're doing e-commerce, it might be all those recurring back-end packages.
Yeah.
If you're working with a dentist, like
all in fours or implants.
Yeah, exactly. Veneers and implants. But if you bring him, and we forget this sometimes because when we say like, I'm going to bring you more patients.
They're like, as long as it's not a cleaning, you're like, oh crap. How about whitening? They're like, nope.
Because they make no money off of that. And a lot of people don't know this, but I just know this because my mom worked at a dental office. They have constant neck and back pain from leaning over people. So when you say, I'm going to bring you somebody, you're not going to make any money. It's a whole lot of work. And you say, I'm going to bring you more of that. Like it couldn't possibly
Why would they say yes to that?
Exactly. So in every niche, there's the $100 bill. So in the plastic surgery case, the guy said to us, hey, I want more of these mommy makeovers. They're like $40,000, $50,000. Do you think you could build me a website for mommy makeover and then just rank it for those keywords? And I said, yeah. And then I realized later that like more guys would want this. And so when you think about like SEO from an offer perspective, it's like, especially today, like my clients get pitched 100 times a day for SEO and probably 50 times a day for Facebook ads. So it's like a box that everybody's in. But the minute you say, hey, I do motorcycle cases, even if your delivery system is Facebook ads like ours is, that's like the $100 thing, right? So, so we were the only ones saying, hey, I'll build you a mommy makeover site. I'll put you in front of mommy makeover people and I'll rank it. And then when you come up with your unique system for it, which is just your own little methodology for getting results, it could just be an ad, a landing page, some follow-up emails, like basic shit.
Yep.
But nobody else will have that. And what it creates what I call a mini monopoly where they can't shop you around. When you're a Facebook ads person, they can shop you 8,000 places. When you're the person
Facebook ads, that's it, done. Right.
I actually did that the other day. There's like 4.3 billion results.
Like
just to give you an idea.
Like management alone for Facebook ads is like $200 a month.
Yeah. Exactly. So this is the simplest way I've found to make an offer. There's a lot of other ways to do it, and this is kind of a deep topic that we could do a lot longer than an hour. But you start with something like dentists, you figure out the veneers are the expensive stuff, and then you come up with your own unique system, and then you can package that a lot of exciting ways to make an offer that they want. It's just it boils down to, would you like more $100 bills in your life? And who says no to that?
There's so much Jay Abraham and Travis going on right now here. This is nuts. I'm having a great fucking time. I watch both of them way too much, and you're nailing it right on the head. This is fantastic.
So the next, like the middle piece, and I said I do this in reverse, so we'll get to the demonstration last, is the plan. Mm-hmm. And this is the biggest thing actually I see missing from a lot of marketers is we try and hide it. We say like, I got my unique system, my proprietary 7-step method. And maybe sometimes that works within marketing markets because they like mysterious shit. But if you're telling a dentist, I have some super top secret way of getting you clients.
He's like, all right, well, don't do it here. I don't want
exactly. No, you need transparency, and it helps to boil down that transparency to 3 to 5 steps, just high level, so he can get what you're doing. So like in my case with the motorcycle cases, it's like here on Facebook, we can target motorcycle riders. See, we got all these targeting. And then I run this ad right here that says, hey, you motorcycle rider, download this book. It'll help you if you're ever in an accident. And then they get a book. See this book? It's for motorcycle riders. And they go to this landing page that says motorcycle stuff to get the book. And then we send a bunch of follow-ups over motorcycles. And they all say, call you. That's how we get motorcycles, right? So like you show them and like.
So the technician in me is going to argue and focus on that like PDF, right? Like whether it should be a PDF or like, have you been in an accident ad or something like that. Does the mechanism matter? Like you can change it at any time. Does it have to be the lead magnet? Can it be like an ad? Can it be anything? Like, does it matter?
Yeah, I mean, it's your system. Like, by all means, put your own unique flair on it. I'm just saying, like, that's what we do. But there's a lot of ways to. But I'm just giving an example. Like, your plan should be 3 to 5 steps where they can see. Okay, yeah, like I can see how that would produce motorcycle cases. The other benefit, by the way, of doing the $100 thing is you get a lot of fucking room to be wrong. Like when one case is worth $80,000, I can get 1,000 leads on Facebook for $10 each. And only convert one person, and I get high fives.
Yep.
If I do that for a restaurant, like if I spend 10 grand and one person comes into the restaurant, they think I'm an idiot. So part of like why I specialize in these things, it's easy to like justify high value, right? Because it's like I'm bringing you $100 bills, and like trucking accidents are another case. If you guys are in personal injury, that would be a good one to do.
Yeah. So that means your client conversations, or how you're building this client conversation, this Loom video. You're first saying, look, I'm going to figure out a big industry, a big niche, something that I'm either an expert in or not. It doesn't matter. We'll figure it out. You can Google anything. And then you're saying, look, I'm going to establish the nickels and the $100 bills. I'm going to make sure I'm only going after the $100 bills.
Correct.
So that way, when I'm crafting client communication, or having a conversation with a client, you can say, hey, Mr. Johnson, I know you're a lawyer, and I know that you actually want more personal injury cases. I'm going to show you our 3 to 5 step system that's going to hopefully generate you more personal injury cases. That's pretty much it. Is that right?
In a nutshell, yes.
Yeah. Right.
And we've got it dialed down now where, we can be a little more ballsy on it and say, we're doing something similar to what I believe you guys are doing right now, which is, I think you guys are doing pay per live transfer, but our offer right now is like, get 10 of those phone calls for $1,000, right? So it's like, and then of course, and it's designed that way on purpose. I actually got the idea. Travis talks a lot about this, but I saw it in your group, is when you're first starting out and you don't have like mounds or case studies and things like that, where most people get it wrong is they start with a marriage offer, which is a big thing, like SEO, marry me for a year.
Yes.
And it's a hard sell for somebody who doesn't know you. And if you make that thing smaller, like, hey, let's just do a little first date and see where it goes, but design the first date so it automatically leads into more. And there was a guy in your group that I saw that did this brilliantly. Somebody said, hey, can anybody do creatives for Facebook ads? Because I hate making the images. And this guy said, I do videos for $50 a piece. And that was a very like small offer. And he had like a whole list of people who said, me.
Yep. It was
of course
easy yes. Yep.
It's very easy yes. One video for $50. But what are 90% of those people going to do if they like
buy more videos?
Buy more videos. So he's really selling like a $2,000 to $3,000 a month video package that take the work off the plate of agency owners, but it's not packaged that way. It's just a little small, try one video for $50. So that's how we do it. It's like, it's just a little small, try 10 phone calls, $1,000. If it works out, you can do more. If for any reason it sucks, I'll even give you your $1,000 back. Although I don't think I've ever had to do that. even when it doesn't work out, they usually don't ask for the money back. So that's it. Like, you got to show them like how you're going to do it, whatever that is for you, whatever your methodology. But the best thing you can do here is not be ambiguous and vague and talk about like my super secret method. Let's just show them how I'm going to get results, because they need like, if I say to you, Jeff, I'm going to give you $100,000. Clearly, you're probably going to want that, but the believability is the hard part, and the plan helps establish the believability. And then this is probably the most important part of the video, the demonstration. And I actually got this idea. There was a guy in Florida who was the #1 salesperson selling hurricane-proof windows, like crushing it. And he was like outselling number 2 and 3 and 4. And I knew somebody who like indirectly knew the guy, and they went to their big annual sales conference, and everybody wanted to know, like, what's your secret? Like, how are you selling all these damn windows? And they're looking for the sales technique. He's got the 1, 2, 3 step method, the tie down, the close. And it was so simple. He's like, well, I grab the window here, I grab a hammer, and I go, wham! And I go, see, hurricane-proof windows.
Must be more complicated than that. No, there's no way simple works. Unacceptable.
So the other part of our Loom video, and this part only lasts like 10, 15 seconds, but I hit you with the demonstration. And there's only 3 demonstrations you can ever make, and it depends on where your market is at. You can highlight their symptom.
Yep.
You can highlight the result you create, or you can put those 2 things side by side. So weight loss is an example of putting those things side by side. You see, here's before, here's after. And I know you can't really run any of that on Facebook ads, but you guys know what I mean, seeing before and after. So a good example of like of this, like I just had a guy actually doing one of these Loom videos in our mastermind, and he said, I work with e-commerce, and he was promising something like 2 times ROAS, and I'm going to make you more sales on your e-commerce store. And I asked him, I said, how do they receive more sales in their world, in their e-commerce store? And he said, well, they all got these little Shopify apps on their phone, and it goes ding, ding, ding. So that's how you start the video. Ding, 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 nice. Ding. Right? Like, do you want that? And so we try not to say it with words. I always try and show people visually. So the question is, like, you want to think about, how would that show up in the world? How would a hurricane-proof window go wham? Yeah. And so when you do that, that does, like Travis says this, and I think it's really true, is if they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, a demonstration is worth 1,000 pictures. And if you think about like every infomercial product that's been sold over the years, almost always it's on a demonstration. So however you can do that, and it doesn't always have to be, by the way, your own case study to demonstrate the result, but you want to show people. And then the other one is, if they're only symptom aware, then you want to showcase the symptoms. So we got a guy in our mastermind who works with dentists who's doing these videos, and the dentist, the thing they say to him most often is, I spent like 20 grand on a picture perfect magazine website, but at the end of the day, my hygienist chair is empty. Yeah. So we made a little demonstration. It's a picture. It shows like a $10,000, $20,000 beautiful looking dentist website. Everybody's smiling. They got perfect white teeth photoshopped and then a little arrow, and it shows an empty hygienist chair. Yeah. And exactly their words, and say, does this sound like you? And so we hook them like very, very strongly in those first 15 seconds and show them, we're going to give you this new and exciting way out. And then we show them, here's our plan. And then we give them the offer, and the offer is just a small little ask, and then it doesn't require all those things. So like, just to give you an idea of this, like start to finish, like what we're doing in the motorcycle stuff, is I hit them with an email inbox that shows all these people requesting, like, hey, I have a motorcycle case, I'm interested. Like, we got a screenshot of one of our clients' email accounts. So I show them, like, how would you like your inbox to look like this? These are motorcycle cases. And then I say, let me tell you how we're going to get it. I go on Facebook, I target motorcycle riders. I send them this ad right here. It says, are you a motorcycle rider? We go to this landing page, which is about motorcycles. We send them a book, and we follow up with these people till the end of time. That's how we get motorcycle cases. If you're interested in trying that out, we're offering a package right now. It's 10 motorcycle leads for $1,000. And you can get started with this. There's no commitment. There's no obligation. Obviously, we'd like to keep you long-term. But we understand you've probably been burned a lot in the past. So I'd rather just show you, and if for any reason it doesn't work out, let me know if you think we should have a conversation about that. And almost always there's no conversation. They're just like, hey, okay, that sounds like something I want to do. And so when you do that, instead of having like what I used to do, which is this complicated marriage SEO offer, that results in, can you send me a proposal? Okay. And then you spend agonizing over this custom proposal that they don't.
And then you think you didn't get it because your proposal's ugly, so you make it prettier. And you're like, it's not the problem isn't the proposal.
And then you chase people too. They go, hey, did you read my proposal? Not yet. I'll get back to you next week. I'm on vacation.
Call me next year. Yeah.
Call me next year. And this stuff, just spits out people who say, all right, I'm in. And that's the most beautiful. Like I literally get that in my inbox. They just say, all right, I'm in.
And so that becomes a, sure, I will call you, or does that become, here's your pay funnels, or like, how do the dollars get exchanged with that? Because I'm used to like, they come into the office, there's like a whole song and dance, right? We got a whiteboard of money and death. Yeah. And it's like, hey, we're going to spend like 30 minutes together. You're going to tell me how bad you are at running your business. I'm going to present you a plan, and then you're going to pay me money. And they're like, cool. So I've never done such a so few little and then ask for money. So like, what does that next step look like for you?
I learned this from a couple of different places, but it actually, you would be amazed at how simple it is. I say, well, okay, if you don't have any questions for me, is it okay if I just go ahead and send you the payment link? And they say,
no, it must be more complicated. And then unacceptable.
A couple of questions here that I'm just seeing, by the way. Does it include ad spend? For this offer, we've got it all dollar cost averages. So I know what our numbers, because we've been running it a little while. So yes, it includes ad spend, but it's, and then as far as, do we send them through Messenger or LinkedIn? Yes, to all of those. I've like tested them on all those medium. It works on people, and people are on all those things. So it's like, if I do it by email, Messenger, it doesn't really matter. But like, that's kind of the gist of it.
So what I understood is you're doing a 30, 60, 90-second Loom video, breaking into 3 parts, the thing that they recognize. Would you like more of this? Here's what we're going to do. And then I'm going to make you an offer. And the offer is not marriage. It's a first date. You need a first date offer.
Correct.
And then you say like, hey, would you like to spend money with me? And then they say yes or no. You start talking, right? But then what was interesting is that like, historically, what I've discovered with me and how I talk and communicate is that when I land an internet client, they stick around for a lot less than an in-person client, like neck choking distance, right? Like my in-person clients are always spending more for a lot longer, and they're happier no matter what. Apparently for you, that's not a problem, right?
Well, I'm not saying in-person doesn't improve those things, because every time I've met somebody in person, we got a couple questions that I just wanted to answer real quick. Yep. What's the first touch point? I actually just, the first touch point is just a little hand raiser. Like sometimes I'll go into a LinkedIn group or a Facebook ad and it just says, hey, we got a way to get motorcycle cases. If I got a little 5-minute video. If you want to watch it, raise your hand and I'll send you the video. And then they watch it. That's like my whole funnel.
Yep.
It's like, it used to be more complicated than that. And I'm still working on complexity, but everything moves a little bit slower with 2 babies. Those guys of you who are parents understand that like these little things want things constant.
I don't think people are going to understand the severity of the words that you just used. I'm still trying to make it more complicated. Like that is both like sarcastic and true. Like if something doesn't work, it's because you didn't make it work. And the answer is almost never in something more complicated, right?
Yeah.
Simple works. If you didn't make simple work, it's on you. The answer is not something more complicated. And it sounds like when people are like, hey, I try to make it easy, let me make it hard instead. That's what I guess failure looks like. Like they haven't figured out those 3 steps to make simple work, right?
Yeah, totally. And it's also like if you add complexity right away. So like I have, somebody just like that's in my Facebook group who's like a really nice lady, and she has an offer that's like, if you're a business owner, I'll get you more profits. And it's so general and so vague. I already know it's not going to work. And she's telling me like I'm building the funnel and I'm all the follow-ups, and I'm like, all of that is a waste of time if you can't first make it work simple. So I think you should do all the follow-ups and the retargeting and all those things, but not before it's been proven to work.
All right. So on that topic, before we go to the Q&A, and for ladies and gents, I hear you. Hold on to the questions for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So are you spending any time doing like industry research or client research? Like, are you getting on the phone and saying, let me ask you 15 Dan Kennedy smart market questions to know if I should do that $100 niche? Or are you just spending 15 minutes on an industry? Like, how do I know that I should go into bike shops and not dentists? How do I know if I should do car mechanics and not personal injury attorneys? Like, are you doing any research at all in this process? Or you just, we'll figure it out? Or what does that look like?
I mean, I think we're always figuring out our clients, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely like research that goes into it. Like one of the things actually, I just ask people like 2 questions that like really clear that up. And I'm sure there's more smart questions you could ask. It's just like, what kind of clients do you wish you had more of? And which kind of clients do you wish you had less of? And a dentist will say like, fuck off with the teeth whitening and bring me a whole bunch more of the veneers. And okay, I'm gonna get you veneers, right? Like, And then also like for research, if you're starting out, when I go into a niche and I don't know anything about it, like when I first went into lawyers in 2016, I didn't know a lawyer. I never worked with a lawyer. And actually one of the things I did, which was really cool, is I reached out to the top lawyer in all of America. His name's John Morgan. They got a huge firm named Morgan and Morgan.
I see their ads. Okay.
Everywhere. Like, you know Morgan and Morgan.
Yeah.
But for those of you who are outside of Florida and don't see them everywhere.
They didn't grow up with like kids on a billboard saying, I know that family. Yeah.
But I just reached out and said, hey, I'd like to interview you. And then there's an interview of us side by side, and I get to kind of borrow his credibility a little bit. But what I do is I go to wherever they're having conversations. So if they're in Facebook groups, obviously if you can do in person, do that. I go to Quora and Reddit, and I'll just search for things like, what's the hardest thing about being a lawyer? And actually, if you listen to some of my speeches, one of the things that they'll say, like a lawyer says, the hardest part about being a lawyer by far are the clients. No, I don't mean the good clients who trust you like a professional. I mean the people who are in this on principle and just want to make the other person hurt, or those kind of things. And I literally repeat that word for word in some of my presentations. So there's definitely a research that goes into it. But the easiest way I've found to just get that is just go, who do you wish you had more of and who do you wish you had less of? And I'll ask those separately, but they'll tell you who the $100 bill is.
I have found that, like, as I get into pay per live transfer real estate, I had a really good conversation with a real estate agent, and the question that I asked was, what are you spending money on that you're unhappy with? And all of a sudden he just that was the trigger. And I was like, I'm just mopping it up and I'm making words out of it. And that will be what I do in exchange for money, because he's already spending it. He's super frustrated with it. He's like, I wish this was better. I'm going to make it better. But you said two questions, which was what type of clients you want more of and what type of clients you want less of. Is that right?
Yeah.
So if somebody watching this video is like, I don't know what to do, well, go have 5 to 10 to 15 minute conversations with 5 to 10 to 15 different people. Ask them what type of clients do they want more of, what type of clients do they want less of, and now you have a 0 to 80% expert framework really, really fast, right?
Yeah, and somebody's asking right now, and yes, you can just walk into a group where you don't know anybody. If you just ask a dentist, who do you want more of? They're not going to say, "Fuck off! We're not paying you money yet, so I'm not going to answer that." They'll just answer it. Like it's actually not very hard to do.
Yep.
And I don't want to be like Ryan Levesque and give everybody the same question, so people walk into these Facebook groups and like, tell me your biggest problem ever. But you can just be honest and say, hey, like I'm doing a little bit of research here, trying to figure out like what kind of patients are most useful to you.
That's how I got into dentistry or dentisting. I asked 15 dentists and I was like, hey, can I talk to you for like 10, 15 minutes? I said, sure. And a whole bunch of them were complaining that all the agencies that they were talking to were giving them whitenings and cleanings and saying we have to upsell. And I hate that. I was like, all right, well, what if you didn't have to do it anymore? What if you're only getting implant patients? And they're like, yeah.
There you go.
Right.
That's actually, that's step 3 of the Loom video right there. No more teeth whitenings. Yes to implants.
Perfect. All right. So we talked about the Loom video. Let's talk about retention going from 3 months to 24 months. How are you handling that? Is it because your stuff works? Because you got like
no.
2 year. It's not because your stuff works. It's for
in fact, I would say our results. I focus less on our results than I ever did in my life. And I'm not saying like we don't make our clients money, because with $100 bills you get a lot of room to be wrong. It's these 4 things, by the way. And actually, I would say the last 2 are the most important. It took me a lot of years to realize that. So when I say extras, there's an awesome book on this, by the way. If you guys get a chance to read this book.
Can you show that again? I think your name was like blocking it out for 2 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, give me those 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, cool. Offense, communication, extra. Got it.
Yeah. So when I think of communication, we kind of talked about this earlier, but when it's been a year and everything's working and a client trusts you and they know you, you don't actually have to communicate all that much. But in the beginning where they trust you the least, you got to make a whole bunch of it. And so if you look at it like a timeline, I call it the accordion. And at the start of it, you want to kind of like squish the accordion together where it's very frequent communication and you give them updates before they even ask for them. And as it's been a long time and they trust you, you can stretch that accordion farther and farther in time. But in the beginning, especially, you want to design it so it's like you said, it's been 30 minutes. Well, I'm setting up the fucking campaigns, right? So you got to tell them, I'm setting up the campaigns. You may not hear from me for the next 2 to 3 hours, but it's because I'm in your Facebook ads doing a bunch of shit for you. Mm-hmm. And then the extras in this book, Never Lose a Customer Again by Joey Coleman, was a game changer for me.
That's on my to-do list. Yep.
Well, read it because it'll make you money. And I'll tell you the 2 biggest places you want to design extras that if you're going to is one is the moment a client signs with you is a lot of clients talk about, or a lot of people talk about onboarding. I believe in something I call welcome aboard, which is like, I'm rolling out the red carpet, welcoming you as a member of my family kind of thing. So like, I'm sending you a gift basket. I'm sending you pictures of family. I send my customer or my clients signed notes. The extras are the little things that keep clients. So I had a client, for example, just like 2 weeks ago, we were talking, and turned out we had our first car was the same. We both drove this piece of shit Oldsmobile 88. It's this old grandpa car. And it was, for whatever reason, it was his car in law school, his first car, and it was my first car. Had a little bonding moment. And he said, I didn't sell it for like 3-4 years, even after I had money coming in. And I said, why not? And he said, well, my grandpa sold it to me. He died. And the car, he used to smoke a tobacco pipe in the car, and it smelled like him, like overwhelmingly when I got in the car, and it just reminded me of grandpa. So I never sold the car because it was just like keeping my connection to him. Well, I just decided to go on Amazon, and I look, tobacco pipe smell, and then the first thing that came up was there was a candle. It said tobacco pipe smell. I'm like, I wonder if this is like close. And I scrolled down to the reviews, and the first review said, smells exactly like grandpa. So I'm like, $20, send that to him as soon as humanly possible. Now, I don't know the end of the story because I'm still in this relationship, but when that client's still with me 2 years later, I promise you it's not because of my Facebook ads are so fucking awesome. Like, it's just not. And those little extras will do more for your agency. And the second place you want to design them is where you normally lose customers. So I'll tell you, most agencies lose their clients at 3 to 4 months. And what you don't realize is when you have them 24 months, like firstly, you only get 3 payments in the Stripe or the PayPal in your inbox. But then you also have to prospect again, run more ads, do more sales calls, do more proposals, do more
start all over again. It's like going back to the gym.
It's like every 3 months you're building a new agency. And when you keep people, it starts to glide a whole lot more because the agency builds off of it and like people stay. And so the second place is if you know people are going to leave after 90 days, start putting some touches in there at 60 and day 75. And then you'd be amazed. Like if I send you a scented candle, was just thinking about grandpa, suddenly he's overlooking the fact that like, it's really only 1.4 ROAS right now on the Facebook ads. And Dan Kennedy did a survey and they found that 79% of people left a business because they just felt unappreciated, unwanted, undesired. And the businesses will tell you, oh, it's because they found it cheaper. They went with someone else. The competition stole them. But it's almost always is because they did nothing. Like if you think about your average restaurant, when has a restaurant ever said, hey, Jeff, you were such an awesome customer. Here's just a little VIP card so you get a free appetizer next time. Cannot wait to see you again.
Some guy did that to my dad, okay, like 15 years ago. My dad still takes me there. It's called Big Cheese in South Miami. It's gross. It's horrible. We're still going, okay? It's like, it was, so it works.
It works. It really does. And so, I mean, we've got a couple standard gifts that I send to people. Bobbleheads are one of them. Like I always have like a custom bobblehead of my clients, like kind of looking like Superman. That's not a really good Superman pose, but like the $69 Superman bobblehead, and they just show up and there's like a bobblehead of them on their desk. Or another one I use a lot is mixed tiles. It's like $10-15. They have these little square pictures and they interlock so you can put like a bunch of them up on a wall. And I always send them of like a picture of them and their kids. I'm just like, hey, this would make a nice, really, like lawyers all have offices. So I'm like, this would look really nice in your office next to, they have their law degree and those kind of things. And every time they look up and see their kid, like, I'm the guy who did that for them and brought that. And that, they're not staying because my Facebook ads are so good. And when I realized that, it really unlocked the game for me because I was like, oh my God, like I'm spending, it actually happened. There's a friend of mine named Peter Sabo, who's a 2 Comma Club award winner. And he's a funny guy because he dropped out of high school, told his mom, give me a year to make this agency work. He built a 7-figure agency. They got invited to the ClickFunnels event and couldn't get in because he wasn't old enough to drink. And so they were there to give him an award and he wasn't allowed into the event. And he told me like for a year, he had 120 Facebook ads clients and spent every day just focusing on getting better and better and better and better and better results for them. And they were never happy. And he's like, the minute I got better at setting expectations and those little extras, suddenly clients were happy. And that's been a big game changer for me. I'm not saying you shouldn't get clients results because obviously if you get them 0 results, they're not going to stay. But I promise you that keeping them informed and giving them little extras, which we design like every 30 to 60, 90 days tops, you're going to get some kind of extra from us where I just invest like $50 to $100 into that relationship because I know how important it is to stay. And when you do that, your agency builds momentum so much easier. It's so much easier because when I used to do SEO, like there was a lot of stress about where am I going to get the next client and proposals and hustling. And now it's like, I don't know, I could do nothing for 6 months and I know there would be money still there in 6 months. So it's like, you know, it's there's no, that pressure gets removed from you.
I'm kind of reminded of, first off, earlier you mentioned like go to where they are. Like we use the phrase of like, if you're selling crosses, go to church, right?
Yeah.
It's so obvious, like go there, right? So wherever your clients are, go there. In person, online, doesn't matter, be part of that tribe. And the second thing that we talk about very often in the group is like the 0 to 80% expert rule. Like you can go 0 to 80% as an expert really, really fast. 80 to 90% will take forever. And then there's never 100%. In fact, as soon as you hit 100%, you find something else and you drop down to 80. It's like this weird, like little space. It sounds like you're applying that to your Facebook ads as well. Like you'll go to 0 to 8%, and then the client keeping activities, like it's very, like it's asymptotic, right?
Totally,
like you can spend a whole lot of time being 90 percentile, but they're still going to leave. They're still going to hate you because they're not wanted, because not appreciated, because you're not having conversations. So it's better to go 0 to 80% with Facebook ads and then build in that client narrative, 0 to 80%. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, it's all designed ahead of time, very energy efficient. So too, like I use a service called Notorific. For like $1, they'll send a handwritten note to a client and they'll personalize it to each person. So I can send one to Jeff, I can send one to Frankie, I can send one to whoever, and I can send like 20 seemingly personalized handwritten messages out in 15 seconds. Like I just I guess filling in the shopping cart takes longer than 15 seconds, but you guys know what I mean. Like it's very energy efficient. So I could just, and then they go, oh, that's so cool. Nobody ever mails anybody anymore. And they're just like, wow. That's probably my biggest secret is actually almost all my little touches come through direct mail.
So when I got that, I was like, I know what you're doing, you little rat bastard. Okay.
Good.
You didn't send me one, but somebody did. Is like, look, A, thank you. But B, I have the same service. So, haha, right? But it still worked. I was like, all right, fine. Like I do this and they did it to me. So you do the Loom video. It's clear, concise. It's what they want. They say, let me give you money. They give you money. And then it's like a welcome aboard thing. So immediately 2 to 3 hours later, they get a thing showing up at the door, which is like, hey, I'm not a total idiot. I know you're freaking out. It's going to be fine. And we're going to talk on these communication timeframes, or like how do you welcome aboard people? And like, do you have like a plan? Do you give them like a Kajabi site? Like what happens, right?
So this is like, I do use tools to do it, but I want you guys to understand the principles behind the tools. It took me a lot of years to realize how important expectations were. And these are the 4 things that we set them in, which is I guess I got it backwards. The result, the cost, the time, and the communication. And when you're telling clients like what's going to go down, you want to be very, very, very specific in each of those things. So the last time I really screwed this up, I had a friend of mine who said, he's an accountant, but he studies all like the marketing stuff. And he said, I know I don't really fit your niche, but would you want to run some Facebook ads to a webinar? And I said, sure. And I did 0 expectation setting because I'm like, oh, he's my friend. He knows.
And he freaked the fuck out.
He freaked the fuck out. Like totally. I remember actually like, holy shit, Facebook, like when you're new on Facebook ads, you guys confirm this, Facebook bills you at like $2.50, $5. So like in his inbox, there's like 47 charges from Facebook. And then he checks, like, has anybody reached out to me yet? No. And what I should have done in hindsight, I should have said, hey, you got a $10,000 offer. If we could just get $10, $15 webinar registrations, we'll be way ahead of the game here. Even if just one of those people converts. But I didn't do any of that. And actually, I knew in my head that, $10 webinar registrations and you'll make money. And we actually got them at $350 right out of the gate. And I was like, high-fiving myself, like, you're the man. And he was freaked the fuck out. I haven't even got a client yet. I already have billed $500. Like, holy shit. And I'm like, well, we got a whole list of people. And so you need to say, our goal here, month 1, is to get $10 webinar registrations. And always shoot for a number, like I said, like that you can exceed. If you think you can really get 10, then tell them 15. Tell them what it's going to cost them. So in his case, I should have known. I should have said, like, Facebook, ding, 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 ding. They always hit you for like the first 25 and all these numbers. Don't freak out when you see the credit chart. This is normal. This is like a garden. We plant seeds and we water them. And some of those seeds water right away, and some in 3 months and some in 6 months. You're going to make a return on investment, but it's not like a push button immediate thing. So there will be costs, but relax.
Mm-hmm.
And then I should have given them like an accurate timeline. Like, hey, it's going to take us, a month to get your webinar, like actually getting registrations. The first 30 days, we're just testing a bunch of messages. I know that's probably not exciting for you, but like we'll have little wins in that will lead towards a big outcome. And then I could say communication. I'm going to send you a video every second Friday. So I know you're probably a little freaked out and think I'm not doing anything, but just, I'm working very hard on your account. I'm going to send you second Friday. Does that all make sense? Are we on the same page? And that's how I do it. And it's like, so it comes down to those 4 things. And when you do that, you take all the mystery out of that relationship for them. And then what ends up happening is they can just chill out. And then when the nice touches come in on top of it, where it's like they feel like, oh, I got a picture of my family and I got a bobblehead and those things. And I would say the longer it takes you to get results, the more you have to do this. So I didn't realize this when I sold SEO. Until they're ranking #1, you got to do this every month, every single month. If you're like building a funnel and you're trying to get somebody's cold traffic dialed in and it's just going to take you 3 to 6 months of testing, then you're going to have to do this every single month for 3 to 6 months. You can back it off a little bit when they see it working. But in the beginning, like expectation setting over and over and over and over again. But then you do that and you can say things like, hey, you can send a text message to a client and say, hey, I remember how I told you if we could just get $10 webinar registrations, we'd be kicking ass. Check this out, $350.
Yeah.
Holy shit, $350. And then
you're amazing.
You're amazing, right? And so I never realized, but I said like that lawyer made it really, really simple. If I tell a client 15 grand and I get 10, I'm an idiot. If I tell them 10 and we get 15, I'm a hero. So like that methodology applies to set expectations that you can easily exceed, because it took me a long time to realize people don't know what the Facebook ad numbers are. They don't know how often we're supposed to talk. They don't know how much it's going to cost. And the more you can just take those variables out of their worry, all their bad experiences, just keep them informed, the more they just like, they'll ease off of you. And what I find is the meetings just disappear. And that's been that is actually my favorite part of running my agency now, is that not that we sell without phone calls and all that, is that like people just, my clients are cool and nice and they leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah. So you do the Loom video, they pay you money, and then you do some welcome aboard, which is like client expectation setting. So is that like a phone call? Is that another Loom video? Like, how do you do
I do most of my stuff by text now.
Gotcha.
So I either message them on Facebook or email. I do have a couple people on WhatsApp. Sometimes like, I'm not trying to grow like a 200 person agency anymore, but I might just like leave them like a 60-second WhatsApp message if I got them on WhatsApp. But that's just it. I'm like, hey, really excited to have you. Here's what you can expect, blah, blah, blah. And I just do that by text. And then the other thing too is I should add on top of that is I talk to clients like I talk to my friends. And I used to think clients really loved this whole like overly formal, like, dear Mr. Johnson, please see the monthly attached report if you have any questions. And I actually now, I almost always try and find some common ground. So like I got a couple of clients who are into like 1990s wrestling, which I grew up on. So like I very rarely message them without a wrestling gift, like a Hulk Hogan, like dropping a leg drop or something like that. And they're into that and I'm into that. But I very much talk to my clients like humans. I actually have a few clients that I actually start our conversations. This is the honest to God's truth. I say, what up, motherfucker? And I'm not saying like you should talk to every client with like, what up, motherfucker? But you'd be amazed. The other thing is how much people just love being talked to like humans, not like, dear Mr. So-and-so, please find the attached invoice. If there are any questions about the invoice, I don't do invoices anymore because it's all automated. But if I did, I'd be like, yo, dude, you didn't pay your bill.
Let's do this. Let's go.
Right. Like that's how I would message them. And
that
so
is fantastic.
That's been really helpful as well. It's like, they're like, oh, it's such a relief to not have this like formal bullshit between us where somebody just gives it to them real. And then you mentioned something else that I think is really key in communication. And not enough agencies understand how important this is they know you're human and they know you're going to do stupid shit. And they know you're going to make mistakes. So like the more you own those, the more they believe you about everything else. So like one of the things I'm like, shit, dude, I accidentally spent $1,000 or $100 of your bucks today and I forgot to change the damn word in our ad template. So like the thing was totally screwed up and I wasted $100. I'm going to credit you at the end of the month, but it's my mistake. I got a new VA on the team and he didn't fix that. I'm really sorry about it, but just want to let you know. And they're like, they just all of a sudden like that trust opens up, and like that's when you find the meetings disappear. And so most of my clients just get like little 30, I call them 30-second drive-by updates. Yeah. And I do them all at the same time. Like I'm not just messaging one client. I'm messaging like 20 in a row in a matter of like 10 minutes. And then like my communication is done for the next week.
So our current $30,000 a month client who will grow to $80,000 a month, and that's $1 million a year with one client, right? We communicate so informally, it is hilarious. He's like, hey, call me now. I was like, 15 minutes. He's like, nah, I need it now. I was like, I'll call you in 15 minutes. Like we're fighting with each other.
Yeah.
Like brothers fight, right? Like whenever he CCs me, it never says, Dear Mr. Miller, ever. Right. When I message him, it's like, hey, something's broken in your team. I need you to go yell at somebody. It sounds more like two people working together towards a common goal versus a lot of what's called CYA messaging, which is cover your ass.
Yeah.
And when I've worked with lawyers and accountants, when I start using CYA, they kick in and they're like, all right, we're going to be CYA.
Yeah.
And please see attached addendum. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. Right. And when I lower that, or when I become more vulnerable and more normal and more human, they become as such. And it's the same level like legalese, but we're talking like human beings. And 90% of the time problems are because human beings didn't talk to each other.
Yeah,
right.
Totally.
And so what I'm hearing from you is like, we'll do a Loom video, which is not professional, which is not a big deal. You talking with like note cards, like, hey, this is what we do. You want more $100 bills? Here's 5 steps so we can do it. Here's exactly what we do. If you're interested, we can do 10 blanks for $1,000. What do you say? They say, sure. And it feels like that humanist follows into the communication.
Correct.
Hey, we're super psyched to bring you on board. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to talk a lot for the beginning. I'm going to send you some 30, 60, 90-second updates. You've got a request in your inbox. Please approve it. I'll get to work talking in 3 or 4 days. And then they're like, great, he's doing what he said. And they're normal human beings, and they're not trying to cover themselves up with legalese. Tell me if I'm right here. Simply by, on the 3 pillars of making an agency, there's results, right? And there's client communications, and there's probably like a third one. But if I understand correctly, going 0 to 80% on results and 0 to 80% client communications immediately extends retention. And as a result, you just make more money. Is that right?
Correct.
Fantastic.
And I have a name for what you just described, all of that. I call my clients friends with money. And I treat them as such. I don't treat them like, because what ends up happening too is like, I'm sure some of you guys have had this. If you treat them like esteemed people who are paying you money, who you must be overly formal with, they will quickly see themselves as like,
yep.
I call it the client underling or the boss employee that like
telling you what to do.
Yeah. Hey, call me. I need you to do this, blah, blah, blah. And you get bossed around. When it's friends with money, like you said, you guys are in collaboration, helping them do their goals. Like I just had a call with my one of my clients. Actually, we're going to probably try out a new offer. And I said, how you doing, man? And he said, oh, shit, dude, I've been working till midnights every day. And I said, why? And he said, my superstar divorce lawyer just quit out of nowhere. No 2 weeks notice, no nothing, just walked out. And I think she got more money, but I don't know what she was unhappy about, but I wish I had known because I could have done something about it. He said, but I'm doing all the divorce stuff. And I said, oh, that sucks. And he said, yeah, the worst part is actually we're missing consultations now. So we're like losing incoming business because I'm in the business now instead of running it. And I said, well, obviously it's going to take you time to replace them and train somebody up to speed. We close without, I'm like, you remember, I didn't close you on the phone. You guys can do the same thing. If you want something like that. He's like, dude, that would be a game changer for me. None of the divorce. That's our conversation, right? It's very human. Like, dude, I can help you with that.
When I have my chiropractor tell me that, I go, not while I'm on the job. We're going to do some fixings real effing fast, buddy. And he says, thank you. Like it feels like the amateur agency that isn't sure puts their clients on a pedestal, but the agencies that actually get shit done, it's here. Like we're at the same level, and probably the other way around, right? And
I'm
it's
the
just
expert.
I know what I'm doing. Thank you very much. All right, cool. Thank you. See you later. Goodbye. Like I don't get to go to dentists and be like, could you use a different tool? They're like, get out of my office, right? Like that's not a conversation. I go, here's my problem. Please solve it. And when I sit down in the chair at a dentist, they go, this is what's going to happen. You're going to open your mouth. We're going to put in the anesthetic, do X, Y, Z, 1, 2, and 3. Very story brand script. Or here's like the 5 or 6 steps. And there's no mystery. Even my carpet guy, he does the same thing. He's like, we're going to do this. It's like, I get it. You've done it 7 times. He's like, I'm going to tell you anyway.
Yeah.
So we talked about your Loom video. We talked about client retention. We talked about the phoneless and meetingless agency because you over communicate through like in the beginning through Looms and stuff like that. We talked about communication framework. And the last step, and we're going over the hour, but I feel like everybody's going to want us to talk about this anyway, is that your Serbian crew or whatever, what is that? Like the kid in Serbia? Like,
yeah, that's
help me understand what that means. You know what I mean?
Okay. One of the things that I don't think enough people think about, because I know I didn't when I first started my agency, is creating a manageable delivery structure. Like in the beginning, you're just so focused on making sales that like you figure if I just make money and make sales, everything will take care of itself. And I just know firsthand you can build like a chaotic prison tethered to your phone, people blowing. And not only that, most of those people leave unhappy. And that takes like a toll on your psyche that like everybody you do business with ends up hating you in 6 months. Like, you know, like, and now when clients let us go, they're like, man, we did everything we wanted to accomplish. We're shifting practice areas right now. So I don't think we need to do this, but man, if there's anything else we can do together in the future, please reach out. Like you get fired nicely now. Yep. And it's been really kind of interesting when I built this chaotic mess. And I learned that the biggest thing for me that I think most agencies do wrong is that we just like, for real, I think we have big hearts and love solving problems. Mm-hmm. And what it leads to is doing way too much fucking custom work.
Yep.
Like just a shit ton of like, oh, hey, you guys do e-commerce? Okay, you sell baby toys? All right, I can sell baby toys with Facebook ads. And then, oh, you guys, you got a dentist over here? Yeah, you guys want more patients? I can run some teeth whitening shit and make your life miserable. And so they do all this, and before they know it, and this happened to me so many times, is once you get like 5 to 10 custom jobs, you're 40, 60, 80 hours a week.
Yep.
And it's difficult to bring people in because you're looking for this like superstar media buyer on a budget and not only that, it almost always, it's easier just to like do it yourself than to explain it to them. You're like, I could do it in 20 minutes or take an hour and explain to this guy how to do the 20-minute job.
Are you telling me there aren't any people in the world that know how to run South Florida Spanish Argon 18 bike shop ads? Yeah, I totally get what you mean. When I suppose I got lucky because I'm really good at the client communication side, and my Facebook ads as a skill set is probably like 50 to 70%. Like everybody's better than me. That's how I always feel, right?
Yeah.
And with this particular bike shop, he was buying enough of my time to where I could figure out how to do those types of ads. But he was the only client that I would ever do those ads. I was not going to even put any time into trying to train a VA because you know what's going to happen? They're going to mess it up and I'm going to be angry. I might as well have done it myself. And that's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so a lot of agencies, when they're starting out, they run into this like catch-22 of like, I don't have the experience of getting a client and I need experience, but this is going to be weird experience. So they kind of like shudder back and forth of like, I don't know what to do and I'm going to figure it out, but it's like a janky solution kind of thing.
Yeah. And you're customizing every solution. That's what it looks like, right? You got to, every client is reinventing the wheel. And it took me a lot of years to realize that not only is that like not good for you, but it's actually not good for the clients because like, if you think about like, say, like I know a lot of people here as part of their solutions include web design. Your typical like custom web design is like, okay, Jeff, I'm going to make you this like idea and then I'm going to send you the idea for approval. And then you're going to send it back to me and we'll go back and forth like 5-6 times, get it right. And then I'm going to program it. And then you're going to make sure it all works. And then we're going to get your content. And I call that the client ping pong because the communication, like I send a thing to Jeff takes 2 days to get back to it and let me know, change this. Oh, can you send me the picture? And you can do 6 months on a custom web design.
Yep.
If you said to,
and you're not charging $60,000 for it, that's for sure.
Yeah. And imagine I came to you instead and said, I've got, hey, I noticed you got this course for your Facebook ads, fam. I've got like a template I built up for somebody who's like 90% the same. We could 10% personalize it. I can have this ready to go for you in an hour. Would you be interested in that? Custom is way less exciting than personalized.
As you were saying, I was like, yeah, I would. How much? Like that's your Loom video right there, right?
And so what I realized is like from a delivery point of view, the worst thing you can do in the world is customize. And so when you take the $100 bill within a niche, what happens is The ad I run for the lawyer in Florida is the same as the ad I run for the lawyer in California, is the same as the ad I run for the lawyer in Idaho. There's obviously details, like 10 to 15% of it we personalize. I put their phone number, I put their face, I put their brand colors. But 90% of it is the same every time. And so what we've done in our agencies, we've got everything. I use Loom videos again, but when we create our processes, I just explain, here's how we set up the Facebook ad. Here's how we do the targeting. Here's how we create the landing page. And then I use Asana. I know there's a lot of cool tools out there, but we take everything in Asana and put it in our agency, or put all our files in there. And then I get a VA and I try and tell them nothing at all. I say, I want you to watch this video. And if it should be self-explanatory, but if you have any questions, come to me after. But I want you to try it first time with the video. And sometimes I have to redo the video once or twice or answer a couple of questions. But after like 2 or 3 iterations, that's it. Like, I can take, and I'm not saying you should have mediocre people, but I can take any average person who knows, like any virtual assistant who knows very little, and plug them in. And so I had a friend of mine, we met on like kind of a spirituality woo-woo forum, and he's in Serbia, and he reached out to me and said, hey, do you have any work for me? I'm looking to do some stuff online. I said, have you ever ran Facebook ads? And he said, no. And I said, do you want to try it? And he said, sure, why not? And actually, he said, what would be fair? Do you think we could do $2 an hour? And I said, I'll make it $3 if you can do it.
50% raise just by being a good person.
Boom, right? And for him, that's all he was looking to make. He's a little, he's 19 years old, I think now, but he was 18 at the time, just looking for some part-time work. And I put him in there. And he had never used Facebook ads or the platform or anything like that. And I actually had to say, hey, I'm going to have a client add you right now as a little test. Can you just change your profile so it says Facebook ad expert and it looks like you're supposed to be? And I can't even do this myself because I'm on my like 6th banned Facebook account. The Zuck hates me. Yep. So I'm bringing him in there. And that was actually part of the reason I was doing it, because I'm like, I can't even run my own ads right now because I've been banned from so many accounts. And so I brought him in, and then lo and behold, he was like, had the campaign set up. And a big part of that is we have good processes and procedures, but a bigger part of that is it's not a custom solution. Like, we're selling the same $100 bill over and over and over. And I've found from doing this, you can manage 50 clients when you're selling the same thing over and over easier than you can manage 5 custom clients. It took me a lot of years of doing that wrong to realize I was doing it backwards.
And the clients, by the way, are happier, they get better results, and it's more consistent.
Yes. All of the things you just described. So that's kind of like the structure we do it, but it comes down to like letting go of this idea that our value is in custom. And I'm just like, no, I built a conveyor belt to bring $100 bills. That's it. That's all we do. If you want something else, I'll refer you to somebody. And if you refer them outwards, you can always say to that person, hey, next time somebody comes looking for a $100 conveyor belt, come to me.
Yep.
And then what ends up happening is your delivery gets so much simpler. That's another big secret in our agency. We have probably another one I haven't even really talked about in the bullet points, but another part of that has been like reinvesting the money we make in our agency. So it also, our agency generates passive income while we're not doing anything.
Yep.
But when you do that, like, it's a very low maintenance 50 client agency. And when I had 100 SEO clients, it was just madness, just like madness all the time, my phone blowing up. And most of that were a function of kind of like structure mistakes. If I could have had the same deliverable used over and over. And the other thing too is, like, if you think about it just from an energetic perspective, the most amount of work that you're ever going to do for a client when you do custom is right when you get them. You got to set up all their codes and their landing pages and their ads. So every time you get custom, you get entered into this like high output energy curve. And what ends up happening is, if you can reuse stuff, then you don't. You start here. It's like, oh, we already wrote the ads. We already created them. Just copy the freaking landing page and change the headline. And so what happens is it allows us to scale. And it like you said, it took me a lot of years to realize it's better for the clients. They get better results. They're happier. They don't want your custom 6-month website as much as we think. They just want it to work.
So what I do with some of my clients that ask for custom work, I go, I'd be happy to create a custom program for you. I do want to let you know that for me to do custom work, it's going to cost you X dollars to even start. Are you comfortable with that? And then the X is usually so huge that they say, not so much. Or if they do, then it's worth my time. And then all of a sudden I can take that and then spin it off. And now we've got like, it's this, like, we cracked the code on like implant ads. Mm-hmm. It's the same ad for all of our successful clients. It's the same system, same everybody. And now we can get like a whole campaign up and running, including CRMs, automatic follow-up, call center in 48 hours or less. It just takes a 15-minute form from a dentist. job is done. 3 days later, the ads are up and running, right?
Yeah.
And that's because it's literally an assembly line. Now, what's interesting is that when people start out, they think assembly lines are bad.
Yeah.
There's no way this is any good. It's because it's a lie. 99% of everything you love is an assembly line. All of it, right? You just have to make your own assembly line. And from what I'm hearing from you is, from the beginning, your Loom, your onboarding process, and the copy and paste Serbian guy, it's all 90% the same. Is that right?
Correct. And even the
What would it
10%
look
that's
like?
customized, we have processes for that, right? It's like, okay, this lawyer wants his brand color. So here's how you figure out his brand. Go on his website, take the eyedropper in Photoshop and like, okay, it's 122, 217 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Put that color in the ad instead of the one that's there already. And so even that little 10%, it's the difference between custom and customization.
Yep.
Custom does not scale. I mean, I guess it can if you want like madness. You can do it. I shouldn't say it's impossible. It's really fucking hard. But customization, it's like you said, an assembly line. And we're talking exactly about the same thing, because what you just described to me is a $100 bill assembly line, right? Dentist, I bring you your high value work. I'm using the same thing over and over. I can set it up. I can manage it at scale. It's far less chaotic than, one ad for a dentist, one ad for an e-commerce. Hey, can you design a website? Yes, I can. Do you do AdWords? And one of the biggest things that I like when I see like a lot of agencies struggle with that madness agency, almost always, if you look on their website, they do a little bit of everything. We do SEO, we do AdWords. We're your all-in-one digital solution. And I used to think that was really cool until I realized just like how hard I was making my life by being the all-in-one digital solution guy.
Yeah. I found that the agencies that have that usually don't have the dollars, the volume of clients to support each of those actual verticals. It's not like they're consulting. It's not McKinsey, right? It's not Bain. They're not Apple, right? They are brain flaring to try to find products and services and revenues. But what they're not doing is actively prospecting in a way that makes it an easy yes, is what you're talking about. What's funny is I know people are doing that, and they went from 0 to $7 million a year just by doing one type of offer, one type of deliverable, one type of client, and one type of product or service. And it was just an assembly line. And they would keep their clients for years. And they're like, that's how it's supposed to work. Like, we're supposed to make factories. And clients are happier because of it. That's that. If I'm picking up what you're putting down, is that right?
Yeah, dude, I think we're speaking the same language there.
Absolutely love it. Look, we are going way over schedule now. This has been an absolute pleasure. We definitely want to have you back. The way you communicate is cool, calm, and collecting. It's the exact opposite of every ad I've ever seen on the internet, right? It's like, it's fantastic. If there's any questions, ladies and gents, feel free to drop them into this live right here. I'm pretty sure Frankie is going to take a break, and then maybe at the end of tomorrow, come back and give you a couple lines of an answer, just as like a make nice to a community. But Frankie, is there anything else you want to go over as we bring this interview to a close?
Well, if there's anything you guys like, I love this stuff. Like for me, I love hanging with you guys. Like agency owners are the coolest people. Like I think we're the only ones who get each other. Like, I found that for our community, like 99% of the people in our lives literally have no idea what we do. Like I've been telling my mom for 13 years, like, how do you make money on the internet?
It's drugs, Mom. It's fine. It's just drugs.
I sell drugs.
Don't worry about it.
Are you sure it's legal, Jeff? Is that
it's
legal?
Not. It's 100% gambling. It's fine. Yeah.
So if you guys have any questions, I love doing this stuff. So never feel like you're bothering me if you got anything. Is it okay if I give my book a little shameless plug here? Is that cool?
Plug away.
So if you guys want to read a little more, I am on Amazon right here. It's called Beyond the Agency Box.
Love it.
And it's mostly just kind of about the things we talked about, having a different kind of agency that's a little more like when I first built my very financial successful agency, I hated life. For real, it was very, very stressful every day. And now my agency, like I mostly get up when I want, other than, when my kids wake me up, I should say. We go to the beach. It's very much like a real lifestyle agency, like, the work on your laptop and travel the world. And I think that's just a lot more fun way to make a living.
Yep.
And having, like you said, an assembly line. And that's not to say it's all rainbows and butterflies. Like I still do have problems and things break down. Facebook ads shut me down and things like that. But the headaches are 99% less than they used to be.
Yep.
And so if you guys have any questions about that, I'm always, always, always happy to answer them. And it's fun for me. So you guys are never bugging me with that.
Fantastic. We're bringing this to a close. everyone, Frankie Finn, he's got his book, Amazon it. You as the internet, you can Google it, right?
Yeah.
Everyone, absolute pleasure. Frankie, don't hang up. We're going to debrief now. Everyone, see you later. Bye.
Thanks, Jeff.